there, guys, it's Mia here, and I am so excited. I am super excited about this live tonight. I'm going to do a simple live on how your nose can define you, how your nose, the things you've been saying NO2, how they truly define what next looks like for you in your life. I'm Mia Redrick, the mom strategist, business and life consultant. Got started in my company 19 years ago. I simply made a decision to go to work as myself. I wanted to figure out how to take my background as a corporate trainer and my systems in motherhood and merge those into a product or service that would support women. And I didn't know what to do with that. And I went to a small business resource center in my town, and I was told by the director of that small business resource center that my idea, mom coaching, didn't make any sense, and no one would ever pay me to do what I've done today. Fast forward, I've had the opportunity to coach literally thousands of women all around the world in so many different professions, and are using their hard skills or soft skills to package their knowledge into a high ticket offer. That's something that they sell for $2,500 or more. That's of high value, that creates amazing transformation in the lives of others, and that makes this world an incredible, better place because they're using their skills. I show them exactly what I've been able to do, how I've gotten signed to Emmy nominated, nationally syndicated television shows as paid talent, how I've done corporate deals with Fortune 100, 500 brands as the mom strategist with my own intellect, and equally how I've built an amazing coaching consulting practice, working from the comfort of my home, building a business that's time rich. See, when I got started in business, the thing is, I wanted to be free. Okay. And maybe you've said this too. I just wanted to, for me, freedom meant that I would control my own time. And so I wanted to figure out how to set up a business model that would allow for that. And I've done exactly that. And that's what I teach my clients how to do. And I have to say that one of the greatest gifts to me in this business is that I get to show up for my family. And I know that if you've been following me, you know that many years ago, my husband developed kidney disease over a decade ago and went on dialysis. And that was a scary time for us. But one of the things that I love is that because I built my business the right way, my consulting coaching practice, I could stand in the gap for my family when they needed me most. And I know if you've been following me, that is something that is super important. It's the reason why I teach you guys the things that I do. I don't teach anything that's theoretical ever, because I know that it's important to not only get yourself free, but also to stay free. You know, I was able to hire a private physician for my husband so he could get amazing elevated care during that time. And equally, he didn't have to focus on going back to work right away in his business because he could rest, he could heal. And I always like to share that with you because I don't think we have enough conversation online about things that really, truly matter. The truth of the matter is you want to build a business because you want to stand in the gap for yourself and you want to stand in the gap for your family. Standing in the gap for yourself might be if you could get yourself free, you could show up at more games for your children. Right? Okay. It might mean that you might be able to help with homework in a different way, be present in their lives instead of they're reading a story to you and you're thinking about something else. You know, I called you out. Okay. All right. No problem. All right. But equally, it might mean that financially standing in the gap, building a business where money is no longer the driver for every single decision that you want to make. Kid wants to do an extracurricular activity and you have to say yes to this and no to that just because of finances. Building the business the right way will really change all of that for you. Or maybe it's that you want to send your kids to private school and maybe it's an independent school. They tend to be 10, 15, 20, $30,000 or more. And I can relate. We've invested over $1 million in just elementary, middle, and high school for our children. Maybe it's that. And you just want to have the options to choose what you want. Or maybe it's just that you want to care for your parents and pay off their expenses, make life easier for them at this juncture of season in their life. And running a great business would provide for that. I get it, right? Or maybe it's that you desire to take an amazing vacation or vacations with yourself or maybe even with your family. And if that's the case, it takes money and time to be able to do that. So I always like to talk about those things because there is a reason that you follow me and there's a reason you want to run an amazing business. All right. Today, I'm going to talk about how your nose define you. And, normally I come on and I talk about a business topic, but I'm going to be doing that all week long. The Giant Experience Master Training kicks off on tomorrow. And on tomorrow, we just have 2 seats left. And I'm going to be talking about business all week long, right? How to package, price, position, find buyers. So I thought tonight, hey, Amanda, hey, darling, you'll be in the class. I'm going to be talking about business all week long. So I thought tonight, let me talk about how your nose can define you. How your nose can define you. And it is my hope as a result of sharing this with you that it really supports you in understanding, the power of the word no, right? Like, and you've seen that statement, like no is a complete sentence. It is. So I've just got 4 simple points of what I'm going to share with you tonight. And my only goal is just to give you some food for thought around this really powerful word, no, and how to engage it. And think about, how are you in partnership with the word no? Are you using it as powerfully as you possibly could? Or are you using it passively, right? Not recognizing the full power of your decision making when you use the word or engage the word or act the word no. And I did say act out the word no. Okay. All right. So if you're ready, you already know the drill. If you've been watching me and if you're watching the replay, I want you to write, I'm ready. All right, because you have to be ready to receive a powerful message. So if you're ready, I want you to write, I'm ready. All right. And then we'll jump right in. So today I'm going to be teaching on how your nose define you. Right. And if you're on Facebook, I can't see your name. So you have to, if you didn't sign up for StreamYard, you have to actually write your name next to your comment so I can say your name. But some user on Facebook says, I'm ready, Mia. Awesome. Okay. I'm so glad you're ready. Is there anyone else ready? Because you have to be ready to receive. Okay. Make sure you type that comment here. So your nose define you. I wanted to talk about this because I'll just share a quick story with you. Over the years, I decided in my own business that I would not work with anyone, right? So, and I wrote about this in my newsletter today. I said, over the years, I decided that the answer for me and in my business was that I would not work with everyone. There are some people that they post products, they're online, and anybody can sign up and work with them. But I've never run my business that way. And I will tell you why. And this will support a lot of you who are entrepreneurs. It's because one of the things that I knew was super important for me in my business is that, one, I wanted to make sure that there was congruency and that there was alignment. Congruency and alignment. So what I do is help women who want to elevate their thinking. They want to stand in their value. They want to own their bigness around taking the ideas, their gifts, their talents, and then stepping into a fuller version of themselves to really be able to own and monetize at the highest level. Okay. And what I had to understand for myself was that not every person is in a place where they're ready to do that kind of work. What am I talking about? That would be self-work. That would be mindset work. That would be belief. That means being teachable, being coachable, means being investment minded proactively. It means being an implementer. It also means being in a place where you can be in the company of other people who do amazing things and you can clap really loud. So I knew that one of the things that I had to do, the very first no, is that I had to set a business boundary, a personal boundary around how I wanted to use my skills and my talents. Who did I want to serve with my skills and my talents? Now, it didn't mean that I didn't have love for everyone, okay? It just meant that I understood, Alexandra, that in order for me to really be of the highest level of service with my skill and my talent, I had to say no. I had to choose a certain demographic, figure out how to qualify my clients, my audience. And we had to interview people, and we had to make sure that based on what I knew how to do, I was working with the right people. That was my no, okay? Now, I'm sharing my story. I want you to think about your no. So the very first no that I'm going to talk to you about is our boundaries, right? And so a lot of times when we think about boundaries, a lot of times we have negative connotations attached to them. But I believe that you are defined by your no's. I was defined by the fact that I decided my products are not for people who don't believe that it's possible for them to hit six figures in a year. My products are not for people who don't want to sell high ticket things. My products are not for people who don't want to do the work, who don't take responsibility for implementation. All right. And in understanding that, okay, and setting a boundary saying, I'm only going to work with people who really are my people, I was able to build out a pretty amazing business, and my clients were able to get results. And I know for a fact that, having looked at so many client businesses over the years, specifically their target audience, and particularly for those who are not where they want to be, one of the biggest issues that gets in the way of progress in business is not having boundaries around who you want to work with. Now, if this is resonating, I want you to write, this is resonating. Meaning there are no boundaries. Most people say, I'll put something out there, I'll market to people, and they will let any single person invest in their business, buy their products or services, even if they are not qualified to do so. Right? And that's super important to understand. The first boundary for me was the first no, I guess for me, was the boundary of understanding that I had to protect my talents and my gifts, because if I didn't do that, then what would that mean? What if I let any single person come in my company? What if you let every single person, that just saw something on your website buy it, even if they weren't qualified? One, it'll kill your reputation. Two, it'll destroy your results, because they may not be the kind of people that do the work. Okay. And so therefore, there are not going to be any testimonials, because people don't do the work. They don't have testimonials. They have complaints. I want you to hear me on this. So when you are thinking about setting a boundary, right? Understand that it will define your business for years to come if you don't understand the power of the no boundary, right? Like having boundaries that say you may or may not enter into this product or company because you are not qualified. And most people don't have a process that allows them to do that. And I always like to be really transparent about that, because it is the number one thing that I've seen so many newer entrepreneurs do, even seasoned entrepreneurs, and they end up pulling their hair out. They'll have a difficult customer and they can't figure out why. And it's because they didn't have any boundaries. They opened the door and they allowed every single person that wanted their products to buy them. But I believe people need to qualify for the products and services that you offer so that you have an amazing group of people. What's the benefit of that? Anybody want to know? If you want to know the benefit, right? I want to know the benefits. Let me tell you. One of the greatest benefits is that you get to build a culture of like-minded people. And so imagine if you set a boundary, a bar of who can come into your company because they're the kind of people that do this work the same way. Then you create a culture and really great networking for your audience. And that's really very powerful. Conversely, if you don't do that and you've got people in there that are whining and complaining and they don't do the work, and that becomes the culture, the dominant culture in your business, nobody's going to be attracted to that. So the no is very, very powerful, and it can define your business and it can define your results for years to come. So hear me on that. Number 2. Hey, Andre, I'm so glad you're here. Number 2, the second no that I want to talk about is the no that relates to personal definition. And I always say elevation, personal definition and elevation. So lean into this one. Okay. So can you imagine that there are times when we see what someone can do or we see something in someone that they don't see in themselves. And this may have been your story also, right? Then maybe that when people tell you about your talents and your skills and your ability and the transformational effects that they've had, meaning you told someone to do something, they did it, it changed their life. They are so excited because of what you taught them, and they come back and give you a compliment. You go, that was nothing, right? Oh, okay. And you kind of downplay it, right? Have you ever done that? Anybody willing to admit this? All right. Well, that I call the no that relates to personal definition and elevation. It means that there are times when there are levels that we can step into that are elevated, and life has clues. People tell you all the time what you do that's amazing, that's life-changing, that's impactful. But sometimes when we haven't done the self-work, we can't step into that. Like literally, we can't step into it, right? Like 100%. It's like something you've been doing all your life or every single day, and you do it with ease and you do it with grace. But the moment that someone says, hey, can I pay you for this? Or you should put that in a book, or they start talking about you using that talent and skill in an elevated way, it as your personal definition of how you see yourself, define yourself, is smaller than that elevation. And therefore you dismiss it, right? You don't embrace it, maybe run from your purpose. I see this all the time. And it's interesting because a lot of my clients, they're smart, they're sharp women, and they, of course, all believe in self-investment. And they have, before they work with me, they've already invested in themselves in many ways in their life, in their world. And they are an expert at what they do. But a lot of times they've been saying no to bigger deals, no to longer contracts, no to standing in their value, standing in their purpose, doing what they want to do with ease and grace because of their own personal definition. A lot of times that definition can come from maybe you work somewhere and they said, this is what you're going to get paid. And you begin to define your work based on a job description, right? Like getting hired for something. Or maybe it comes from maybe a boss or a manager, someone you work with that has told you disqualified you in some way. And there's that belief. Or maybe it's that you're doing something that's out of the box and the people you're talking to don't understand it. So they said that won't work, 100%. But I will tell you, there are the no's, the personal no's, the things that we won't step into because of our own personal definition, that we don't have a definition that allows us to elevate to that next level. I see it all the time. I challenge my clients to close big things. I have a client who we call Dr. T, who just pitched a multi-million-dollar contract. And the reality was that she had never done this before working with me, never done this before going to the Giant Experience and working with me in private coaching, consulting. The reality was that it was already inside of her. She didn't have to go back to school. She didn't have to do anything. All she had to do was take and look at all that she was bringing to the table and stand tall in that and ask for what she wants. So sometimes we say no or embrace no because we are afraid of that next level of elevation. And if you know what I'm talking about, I want you to write, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking to me. All right. And I just want to say that, like, a lot of times in order for that to shift, you have to have accountability, people who see you, who challenge you, who call you out, who don't allow you to play small. And sometimes it is uncomfortable, but you can do it. You can do it. There's another level of living when you embrace that type of no. All right. So far, I've covered two types of no's. One, the first no is the no around boundaries, right? And two is the second no is that no that relates to your personal definition related to elevation, right? This is some deep stuff, right? And I know you guys are getting it. Number 3. Okay. The third type of no that I wanted to talk about today is probably the most common no. And that's the no that relates to fear. Yes, fear. Okay. So a lot of times people say no to their next because of fear, no to stepping forward because they're scared, because they don't know what's on the other side of the thing that they really want. So you may have a big vision, plan, goal, know what you want. 90 days from now, know what you want to achieve. 1 year from now, what you want, what your annual revenue to be. You may even know what you want, like your company to do, 3 to 5 years from now, how you want to live and all that. But because of fear, okay, that often people don't move to that next level. They say, no, I'm not getting in the water. No, I'm not starting, right? No, I'm not going to invest in myself because I don't have a guarantee, right? And, I want to talk about that for a minute because I know for myself, when I got started as a mom coach, the word mom coaching did not exist, okay? And literally, I just believed that I should be a mom coach because that was what people were coming to me for. So I thought that made perfect sense. And I started talking to my parents about it, and they would always change the topic because it didn't make conventional sense. Okay. They were like, no, right? Or I talked to my husband about it, and my husband said, look, I hope somebody pays you to be yourself. Right. But he hadn't seen that. I mean, he was a conventional guy. So he's like, I hope somebody pays you. Like, good luck. And I had these series of no's, the director of the Small Business Resource Center saying, that's not going to work. Why don't you just get another job as a corporate trainer and do that? Because you can make six figures doing that. This doesn't make any sense at all. So sometimes it's the messages that come back. It's that side-eye blank stare that from others when they don't understand that big calling on your life or that gigantic purpose. And I really mean it, because I knew that I was meant to create a movement to empower women to practice better self-care, because I had these really great systems for myself people would ask me about all the time. And I thought, man, it just seems like I could create a movement doing that. And I moved in the direction of my fear of the unknown. I practiced my faith with action, okay? And I faced my fears. And here's the coolest part about this type of no, okay, is that when you do face your fears, you get to live with new gifts. And a lot of times we don't think about this, but you'll never get to live with those new gifts, okay, if you don't take a stand for the fear. If I didn't invest in myself, like literally I went, when I went to the Small Business Resource Center and he said no, my second stop, I ended up finding this coach online who's been my coach for the last 19 years. And I decided to find someone that could help me. Now, she was charging at that time $1,000 an hour. This is 19 years ago. I don't even know the first question I'm going to ask her, but I make the investment in myself and it changes my life. Okay. It changes my life. And I think so often we say no because of fear. We say no, right? Because of fear. We say no. We say no to investing in ourselves. We say no to finding the time, but we can find time for every single thing that's going on with the kids. And I'm going to tell you this. If I had $1 for every single person that wrote us over the last month about the Giant Experience Master Training, which kicks off on tomorrow, and said, I want to do it, but I got this with my kid, or this with my job, or this with my husband, or this in my neighborhood, or this, I could do a dance, right? This, I'd be a millionaire, right? Just from that, okay? But the reality is that they weren't real. Those aren't really real. Those aren't really real scenarios. You're really saying no to yourself. When we don't have enough belief in ourselves, then we say yes to fear, right? We say no to our next. We say, no, not right now. Don't do this, do that. And I'm always entertained by it because I think, like, imagine doing something that you really don't love doing. Or imagine doing something that you really love doing, but you wish you had more time, or you wish you didn't have a cap on your income. But imagine not finding the time, being at that place of no in your life where fear dominates your decision-making for what the next 6 months, 9 months, 1 year is going to look like. If you just stepped into your next without fear, right? You said no to fear, then your life could be unrecognizable. I see it all the time. I have a client that came to the Giant Experience last year. When did she come? November, I think it was. And within 9 weeks of coming, closed her first $144,000 contract. Never did this before. You don't have to hear me say it. When you go to the website, you can hear her say it. It was her, what she did, what she created for herself. I see it all the time. Women who say, I'm afraid, but they don't allow the fear to dominate their decision-making and their choices. They fight for themselves. Number 4, is this good? Is this good or is this good? All right. I just wanted to just shake your shoulders a little bit around the no's that exist and how they're showing up for you. Okay. And the last no, oh my goodness. Now this one might blow you out the water, but this is the last one. And this is the no around identity. Oh God. This is the no around identity. So let me tell you what I mean. So sometimes we feel like imposters in our lives, right? Like you might feel like an imposter. Everyone that knows you sees you as the smart, sharp, incredible, successful being. And yet you do have that success. And that's why you have the perception of that success. But inside, okay, that there is more for you. See that other no? It's not N-O, it's K-N-O-W. Okay. You know there is more for you. And you've got an identity issue. You've got this safe space in your life, in your world of what others have defined you by. And then there's this calling that's inside, this thing called your gut, your sense, your knowing that there's more for you. And it creates conflict because you're like, okay, I know that if I help this department make this amount of money or save this amount or close this amount or help them with their employees in this way or whatever it is that you do that's amazing, I know I could probably do this in my own consulting practice, but you're scared. Okay, scared because what if it doesn't work? And then all of that perception from those other people, the way that you've identified yourself, not internally, but externally, based on the perceptions of others, it just guides what you're doing every single day. I see this a lot of times with really successful women. The reality is that because they are defined by being very successful, they're not willing to take a risk and bet on themselves because they're afraid of changing that perception. I'm just breaking that down, okay? And my only goal is to shake your shoulders a bit and say, like, the only thing that really is real is the thing that sets your soul on fire. And I mean it. The idea that I get up every single day, walk into my office, and do what I love to do, right? And I just love it. And on any given day, literally, I get up in the mornings, most mornings. Today it rained, so I was out for a little bit. I get up in the morning at 7 something, like 7:15. I go outside, I play in my garden for a while, talk to all my trees and plants, and I do mean talk to them aloud, okay? All right. And I set my intentions. I read my Kindle, which I have right here, my Kindle, which I'm falling in love with. I read my book, and whatever I'm reading that day, I connect with myself. I pray, I meditate. I'm clear about myself, what I need, okay? And then I move forward in my purpose. I come into my office. This is my space right here. And every single place, every single thing in here inspires me. It grows me. It fuels me. It delights me. And I cut on my computer at some point. And when I do, and I'm working with my clients, however I'm working with them or looking at whatever I'm looking at, I'm delighted to be able to share my gifts in the way that I do. It sets my soul on fire. I love it. Okay. I read what they're doing or what they've accomplished, how they're standing in their value, how they're growing in their purpose because they decided to say no. Okay. To no. And just know that your no's do define you. Okay. Thank you, Alexandra. I appreciate you. Right. That just know that your no's will define you. They'll define what's available to you right now. They will define what's available to you 6 months from now, 1 year from now. Okay. Your no's will define you. The perceptions that you hear from others, their perceptions, when you make those bigger than your own truth, I'm always surprised by that. And just know that everything that I talked about related to no today, it's all available to you. One, to be aware that these no's exist. And 2, to say, how am I going to create the shift? Last thing, I would like to know an aha takeaway that you got from being here today, because this was a great live. I talked about how your no's define you. Okay. And I know you were not expecting what I was talking about this way, but I always like to elevate your thoughts, your thinking, because success is not just about money, money, money. Success is not just about launching something right away. Success is often about you understanding the powerhouse that you really are and owning that person, like finding her, dusting that girl off and saying, you know what? I haven't been dressing you up and putting lipstick on you, but you deserve that, right? I don't mean literally lipstick, but you get the idea, okay? Being all of yourself, being your extra self, yes. Being your brilliant self, absolutely. And being in environments that allow you to grow and flourish that way. And if you don't have that, you're going to have to invest to have it. Now, I've told you guys a million times, I'm sure it's been a million times, about the Giant Experience Master Training. We start on tomorrow. There are 2 spaces left for anyone that's interested. You can check it out, and my team will, see if it's still available. We'll see. Read the qualifier, see if it's for you. But I can tell you that If you're sharp and you're smart, you're an action taker, you're a go-giver, you're a go-getter, and you're looking for that next level for yourself, it's likely for you. Okay. If you want to be called out into your purpose, it's for you. Okay. One quick thing that I'll do is I'll share on the I'll just share, what you can expect all weekend long. And then I want to know your ahas or your takeaways. So I'll give you a minute to give me an aha or takeaway that you got from this live today. 1 second. Let me show you really quickly. Okay. This is the Giant Master Training. It is a training that you get 10 hours of incredible training. It's my life's work where I teach you what I've done to be able to build an incredible coaching practice, having supported thousands of women literally around the world. And everything that I teach you is exactly what I have done. Monday through Friday, August 2nd through 6th, I also do a combo live Q&A. So not only do you get the 10-hour training to watch, rewind from the comfort of your home, but you also have the opportunity to get your questions answered directly by me all week long. I mentor you, okay? And I can tell you I deliver amazing value. So I just want to run through it. $16.97. It's amazing. There's only 21 hours left to register, but I'll just run through a couple of things that you will learn. You learn how to package your expertise, your background, your gift, your education into a high ticket offering. And that means something that's $2,500 or more. I show you how to price what you're doing. Even if you don't know what the price could be, I know what it should be. And one of the things that I support you with is thinking bigger about valuing what you're doing. So it is for those of you who want to sell what you have for high ticket. I also show you how to position your marketing strategically to attract the right audience. That's really important. So you're in front of investors. And I show you how to sell both online and offline. And I actually show you how to do it. So you see me do it online, and then I also do it. You watch me do it also in person. So a lot of people have closed during the week of the training just applying my sales process. It's very, very valuable, and it's easy. It's easy to adapt. You gain confidence in how to pitch your offers with a turnkey process that's not salesy. I'm not into being salesy. There's no need to be. You learn how to create a base service that you sell for $2,500 to $110,000, okay, per client. You learn how to figure out what to sell as a high ticket product. So if you've been selling things for low ticket, you don't have a clue, this is for you. How to identify your pricing sweet spot so your ideal clients buy. That's really important. The ins and outs of structuring an offer online and offline and how to deliver it to your clients authentically. You learn how to protect your IP, really important. Protect your ideas, how to figure out what to sell and know that this is what your audience wants from you. So a lot of times people don't know what is it that I should be selling. That as a coach, a consultant, a trainer, if I want to license content, what should that look like? You'll learn that over the course of the week. How to leverage your social media to grow your audience and your sales in a way that's easy, not doing a whole lot of extra things. You guys know I'm only on this platform and YouTube. How to easily move your low-end customers into high-ticket programs. And I should also say that time rich, because I'm really interested in you building an amazing business that gives you more time back. I work about 5 hours a week servicing my clients. And how to only launch your products or services with customers, right? This alone will serve you both time, money, and heartbreak. So this idea of you building these products that sit on the shelf, nobody ever buys. Okay, I'm going to show you to get rid of all of that, what you need to really do. Okay, and which systems and tech I use to automate my business. So you learn that and so much more. You get access to an amazing community. And, I wrote this here. Let's be clear. You can make money doing what lights your soul on fire, and that creates impact with your gifts. And my assumption is that if you're interested in attending any of my trainings, that you are all about creating and delivering value for others, because there's no reason to sell anything if you don't want to create results for others. Then I'm not for you. I can just tell you that. Okay, but if you do, know that, man, people ask me for advice all the time. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of business could this be. The Giant Experience is for you. Okay. I posted the link there. Now, I want to know from you an aha or a takeaway that you got as a result of being here tonight. So, one aha, one takeaway. Anyone want to go first in sharing that? And I'll look and take a peek at your comments. Let's see. Andrea says, I want to know your benefits, and you are talking to me. Amanda says, I know exactly what you're talking about. And Sienna says, hello, Sienna. And Amanda says, oh, wow, you're talking to me. And Andrea says, oh, my goodness, my struggling so much with this. Oh, I'm struggling so much with this. I gotcha. And then Alexandra, my daughter is Alexandra. Okay, so, and I love that picture of you. So I'm loving your presence. I appreciate that. I love your presence. Thank you for being here. Any other ahas or takeaways? Vicky says, hey, Vicky, and value for others. That's really important. Right. So the reality is that it's super important to understand that adding value to others with what we do is the only reason to start a business to begin with. And I think so many people kind of forget that in the particularly this online space, because everyone wants to like look at what somebody's doing and do that. But your power is in you being you. And I teach you how to market in a way that competition becomes irrelevant. You come to understand that the reason that somebody wants to work with you is not because they read what somebody else is doing. It's because you are you. They want to work with you because of your background, your gifts, your talents. They want to work with you because of the kind of problems you know how to solve. Okay. Any other ahas, takeaways, any questions for me before I sign off? Any other ahas or takeaways? Okay. And Amanda writes, value the high ticket I have and don't even see it. So I always say, Amanda, that there is a layer, and you're going to hear me talk about it all week long, of money around you that you probably do not see. And that's the fun part. To me, that's the part that gets me so excited when my clients come to understand what they have their hands on. Like the gift, the talent, and it's just packaged the wrong way. You know what I mean? It's like, why is it in this box? Let's put it in this big old, let's put it in this big old balloon, right? Like maybe it doesn't belong in a box. Maybe it just needs a ribbon in a completely different package. And you'd be surprised, I'm offered. I love this. My aha, my power is my no. Your power is your no. And remember the no's that I talked about. Boundaries, personal definition as it relates to your elevation, fear, right? And identity. These are really powerful. And if you're just joining me, make sure you catch the replay. I do not know, Evelyn, when it will be offered again. It's offered right now. And you knew I would say that. It's offered right now. I don't know that I'm going to do it again. I might. I don't know. I can tell you that the women that have come through the Giant Experience virtually, I decided to host it because of COVID, because I always did my events live and in person, and they created amazing results. When the women attended the Giant Experience live, within 3 weeks, they closed, I think it was like $350,000. And it was a small group because I only work with small groups. And I knew that if I had the opportunity during COVID to really support women who really said, look, I want to get this right. I figure you're home anyway, you're online. Let me just support you. And so I made it available. It's usually closed doors. Most folks don't have access to this level of training, definitely not for $16.97. And I made it available. And people said yes. And so hundreds of women have come through the Giant Experience. And it's been life-changing. It's been life-changing for those who've done the work. I'm so excited. Amanda says, yes, I agree. And she says, that's why because I know what I have been missing. God directed me to you that Saturday we talked. Awesome. I'm so excited. That's right, Amanda. Because I talked to you when I was in Puerto Rico. That's right. I remember. And it's true. It's about sometimes it's about standing on someone's shoulders. And so to answer your question, Evelyn, I don't know if I'll do it again. Maybe I'll do it again. It will be a year um, this August, right? Like this is August 1st today. And I think in 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, a year ago, was the first time I held a giant experience. And I hosted every 6 to 8 weeks for the last year. And my goal was to support women who were already at home because of work, because of COVID, and show you that, listen, it doesn't matter what's going on, okay? I can support you. Sienna, did you speak to Alex last week? Is she amazing or is she amazing? So excited that you had a chance to talk with her. She's brilliant and she's amazing. And she gets it. And it's all she's ever learned about standing in your value, right? It's my daughter is Alexandra, and I'll have to share that with her, but she only understands it because she's witnessed this all her life. In fact, a funny story, she was just telling me yesterday she went with one of her high school friends. They went to have dinner, and when they had dinner, they're very entrepreneurial kids, and her friend was talking about how he was working for Amazon in a warehouse packing boxes for hats or something. And then he decided, well, let me call China and get these hats. They're beer hats or something like that. And closed $25,000 his first month in business. Like this kid is 19, okay? But see, when you grow up and you don't have limits, limiters, boundaries, or someone told you this is the only way to trade time for dollars, you don't have to unlearn that stuff. And and this is why I do this work, because part of what I want to do is build a culture of women where money is no longer a concern, where a man is not a plan, okay? And your job is not a plan. You want to work the job, but you have other options. And so many people are codependent on their family, right? Evelyn writes, I thought she might say it. I always say yes to whatever's in front of you and figure it out. Because the truth of the matter is, like, if I think of the pitches, the doors I've walked through over the years, I said yes, and I figured it out along the way. And if I ever was waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect time, I made it right. And that's the difference. Like, that's what successful people do. We say yes, then we figure it out. Like, I'm gonna do it. Whereas trying to get everything lined up just right, is one of those things that it may happen, it may not happen. Amanda says, yes, I'm so ready. I'm so ready too. So remember, at 8:00, we will be, I'm going live for those of you who come on tonight. I'm so excited. I'm super pumped. Okay. Andrea writes, me and my books just arrived while I'm on the live. Really? That is too cool. I love it. My favorite book is Time for Mommy, 5 Essential Strategies for Mother Self-Care. That book really represents for me the belief that the things that you see in your mind's eye can happen. I mean, that one book I wrote, and you'll hear my story over the course of the week, or you have, because you have access to training for the Giant Experience. That one book took me on such an incredible journey. Okay. It made me a bestseller. That one book got me signed to Emmy nominated, nationally syndicated television shows, literally as the mom strategist. It's paid talent. Okay. That one book, it got me signed into the union, the SAG-AFTRA union. That one book got me a deal with several Fortune 100 and 500 companies, Panera Bread, Marriott Corporation, the Hyatt Regency, Corner Bakery Cafe, Great Harvest Bread Company, ... That one book. And that was all, none of those opportunities. When I wrote that book, when I sat down to write that book, and I would go to my, the library for the college that I graduated from, and I would sit in there and I just loved it. I just poured my soul in it. And little did I know that me saying yes to myself, okay, me saying yes to myself, that it would change my life, right? Evelyn, tell me why. What you need? Because maybe you can talk to Javiera, or tell me what you need. Okay, so shoot it on Messenger, and I can shoot your message right back, right at the end of this live. Okay. Okay. Find the one I bought and Finding Time to Care for Me, A Nurse's Guide to Self-Care. That book is a book that I had a nurse who friend who was in leadership for the National Convention for Filipino Nurses. You know, I always have a story, right? But she didn't have a book. I had a book and I have a system. So I did a partnership with her, and so we did a nurse's guide to self-care because I had the system and she was a nurse. So we did a collaboration there. So, it's those kind of things. I always got something, right? But those kind of things, like your ideas have value. And everything that I teach at the Giant Experience over the course of this, the training and over the course of this week of answering your questions. I think one of the things people see that's different is that I actually, one, answer the questions myself, and two, I'm not answering anything theoretical. I'm going to show you how I pitched it. I'm going to show you what I did. So I think the reason that people create amazing results is because of that. There was a woman that came to the last Giant Experience, which was about 6 or 7 weeks ago, Veronica. She closed over $255,000. Now, she probably would have closed in that contract for $50,000 to $60,000. Because she had the contract already, the contract meeting during the week, I was able to elevate the way that she'd show up in that contract. And she closed over $255,000. Like during the week of the conference, she paid $1,697. I'm just saying, okay? But she said yes to herself and then figured it out. All right? So any final questions or comments? I'm going to sign off now. But I just want you to know, no, it's very powerful. Okay. No, it's very powerful. Okay. And I think that's the one thing, Andrea, that you'll see is that everything that I tell you, you'll see over the course this week, I can show you. Everything that I tell you, I can show you. Clients that are proof. So there's no fabrication, there's no manipulation, there's none of that. And there's also no toxic thoughts around hustle and grind and all of that, because who wants to work like that? No, it'll burn you out. So I show you how to build a business with ease and grace. All right. I love you guys. I will talk to you soon. Have an amazing night. All right. And I'll try and pop in this week while I'm doing the Giant Experience training. I said that last time and I didn't, but I'm going to try to pop in this week and share some love over the course of the week. Okay. With you as well, because of the Giant Experience. It's going to be in full effect. I'll just let you know what's going to happen, and you'll see the proof. You'll see the women change their lives, and there's a reason they're together, this cohort. I'm very excited. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.